Once again, to this Beefcast presentation in association with Muatorn TV. Game 2 coming out of WCS Europe, round of 32 between these two players. Let's get right into it. In the bottom right-hand corner, he is the Protoss player, down one game in this series. Is he going to be able to take it back here on Ohana? The red Protoss playing for Fnatic. He's Night End.
And his opponent up in the up in the top left corner of Ohana is EG.ThorZaIN. One of the best Terrans, definitely one of the Terrans that I like the most. Just he doesn't play the cookie cutter style. He does his own thing, which is pretty much what I look for in players. So definitely a fan.
Yeah, ThorZaIN was really dominant at the beginning of this year, taking home first place in what was that, DreamHack Stockholm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, winning that and just really doing well at pretty much every tournament that he showed up in. Recently, not doing as well, but still a very dominant player. Some would say that he might even be cursed.
I have a feeling Stefano would disagree, but yeah, maybe EG curse, man. Could be.
EG curse.
He's only won like 3 tournaments since then.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's pretty rough. He's
terrible.
Just playing so bad.
So in that last game, we did see ThorZaIN just really have superior economy, superior composition, and superior control to his opponent, especially there in the late game, that final engagement there on the Xel'Naga Watchtower at ThorZaIN's 4th. What can Night End do in this game to really make sure that that's not going to happen again? What can he improve on so that he's going to be able to take this victory and bring it up to 1-1?
I feel like he needs a better composition, and he needs his upgrades faster. One, factor in that last battle is ThorZaIN's upgrades were better than Night End's. That's never what you want as Protoss. You want to be 3-3 super fast, and Night End just didn't have that. And he also had no real way of dealing with dealing with Vikings. Usually when a Terran engages like that, where they kind of run away with their ground army and just leave the Vikings over top of your Colossites because you don't have enough anti-air that isn't Psystorm. So you need to have at least 10 Stalkers. If you got 10 Blink Stalkers, you can kill those Vikings quickly enough to save some Colossi, and then you can just go engage after that, and you have a better chance at winning.
I could certainly agree with that. Right now we do see both players playing very similar to last game. Looking like a 1 Rax expand here for our Terran player, and could possibly be a 1 gate expand for our Protoss.
Yeah, it looks like it might only be into 2 gate again. So yeah, actually he takes a gas right after the 2nd gate. So again, a player going for a little bit of less units to get their gas a little bit faster for better upgrades, or a faster stim or something like that. So it's kind of weird, especially on this map.
It's definitely a greedier build that we're seeing out of ThorZaIN. We saw from his teammate DeMuslim in cast that we were doing a little bit earlier, that 2 racks instead of 3 racks after expand. So we'll see what he's going to use those minerals for. Could be something like a 3rd command center. Typically you'd have already seen that at this point though. So he's going to be getting that gas out just a little bit faster and might be going up into higher tech.
Yeah, we see the reactor actually goes down first for ThorZaIN here, which is kind of different. Generally, you want to either throw all your add-ons down at the same time, or you get the tech lab first for a little bit faster stim, but choosing the reactor just means he wants to be safe for his kind of weird early attacks. And now we see this tech lab goes down right after.
Yeah, and I think that there will probably be a factory going to be plopping down here in just a moment. But we'll see, as those Marines are going to make their way out of the bunker right now. Wants to be able to check for proxy pylons over at the 3rd, but that Stalker is going to be trying to get up the ramp, poke up there and see what is going on. But we do see Stim actually going to be researched right now, as that starts as soon as the tech lab finishes here. And still sitting at about 120 gas, and so I'm really wondering where the factory is. You would typically see that at this point.
Yeah, I don't really know why. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
So he missed it, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know. Night End has thrown down 2 extra gateways. He's gone up and gotten a robotics facility as well. So he's playing standard. You can pretty much do anything from here, and it looks like it's going to be Twilight. So yeah, maybe he's going DTs again. I don't know. I would hope that he's not. But this is pretty much the same build. So.
Yeah, Night End has been known to play a little bit of DTs, kind of like what In Control was at the end of last year, playing DTs against Terran and
Every
Protoss pretty much every game. And
Zerg.
DTs lose their effectiveness a little bit when you play DTs 80% of your games. So we'll see if that is in fact what's going to happen. But Blink actually going to be the choice here, and so that observer probably going to be coming out of the robo relatively soon here. Actually, we already see one making its way across the map. So this is going to be Blink Stalker with observer, and something that could definitely work here on Ohana. You have a pretty sizable amount of area that you can blink up here into the main. It's unfortunate that you're not able to blink out of the main, like back behind, similar to, let's say, Antigua.
Yeah.
But I think that he might still be able to do a decent amount of damage here with Blink Stalker.
I think this might actually be just like a defensive blink. Generally, you don't get too aggressive with blink versus Terran because bio units with stim are really good, and stim is done. 1+1 is on the way, and he's also getting 2 forges right now and immortals. So that it's more of a defensive kind of thing. I hope to see maybe Colossi or Templar Archive. He could do the blink all in, however.
No. I actually completely agree with you. When I started talking about that, we hadn't seen all those structures dropped, and I definitely agree that this is more of a defensive blink right now, as he has continued to produce immortals now and hasn't started warping in a ton of stalkers.
Yeah,
but
I love the defensive blink. It's so good on this map because this is a drop-oriented map.
But look at the amount of bio that's making its way across the map right now, and the army supply of our Protoss player is so small. Right now, he's just working on 7 stalkers, an immortal, a zealot, and 2 sentries right here. And this could be really bad for our Protoss player.
Yeah, especially if some units get elevated into the main after Night End pulls stalkers down to defend. This could go terribly wrong. He does have his force fields here, so he can delay this long enough to hopefully get some more units out and maybe even finish upgrades. But
elevator up right here. But look at all the blink stalkers that are now out of position. No! Oh my God, no! He had those stalkers in perfect position to deal with this elevator play, but blinking onto those medevacs right there, he's going to be able to take those medevacs out. But I think that all those stalkers are going to be lost. A full energy sentry on the low ground being lost, as well as the bio does make its way into the natural mineral line, trying to snipe out as many probes as they can. And it looks like all the Terran army is going to be cleaned up right here, but it has done so much damage to the Protoss.
Yeah, he killed, let's see how many workers. Well, 9 workers are killed right now, so that's pretty freaking big. You never want to lose that many workers in an attack like that. If he'd left 4 stalkers up on the high ground, he would have been fine. He wouldn't have taken any damage. But because he pulled all of the stalkers down, and like I said, if you pull those stalkers down to defend, and then he elevates into your main, you're kind of screwed, man. So that was rough.
Oh, that was, like you just said, that was rough. And we do see a third Nexus coming down here from our Protoss player. But who else saw it? ThorZaIN did with that factory. That factory knows exactly that it is there. Back at home, his own third is already completely operational. ThorZaIN taking another lead in this match.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's seen the tech. I'm going to check here. Yeah, okay, he has now. As a Viking just flew through Night End's base. I don't know why that worked. It shouldn't have with a bunch of blink stalkers, but he has now scouted the tech. He's seen double forge, so he knows there's going to be a lot of upgrades, and he sees the robotics bay is upgrading, so he's assuming, okay, this is for range. And he actually, did he kill a worker with that Viking? Yes, he killed two grubs with a random Viking.
That is not something that you see too often there. I was watching they're in the middle of the map as well, as Stim Marines and Rogers try to chase down Blink Stalkers, but the Blink able to get out of there. But a Viking dropping in the mineral line.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Crazy, man.
You don't see that too often.
You don't see that ever, unless you're like watching bronze games or mono battles. That's really the only 2 times I think of Vikings harassing a lot.
I've actually seen it before in PvT. And super late game PvT, when the Protoss changes back into Templars, and there's no more Colossi on the field, and the Terran might still have like 10 Vikings or something, they can actually land on a undefended mineral line and completely obliterate that mineral line. Something like +2 Vikings versus probes. Yeah. That is not a battle that you want to take. They actually do a ton of damage to unsuspecting probes.
Especially like lighter units.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually get an upgrade or a bonus for a slight, but Like, it just seems they do so much more, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rough. I do know they have, like, DPS similar to a Hydralisk when they're landed,
Yeah, it's
which
kind
is
of
pretty
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we do see that our Terran player has stopped production of Medivacs on just 4 right now, continuing to produce 3 Vikings at a time off of 1 Naked Starport here and his reactored Starport. Ghost Academy already being dropped preemptively for a transition to High Templar, and that's not something that's looking like it's going to come right now from our Protoss player.
Yeah, Niden's kind of just decided he doesn't want to do that. I'm not sure why. I mean, even if you just make Archons with it and put it in your control group, it's so powerful. Archons just take so much damage, and they also, force the Ghosts to EMP in that area, which will make it hit less of your other units, like your Zealots. So, I don't know. I definitely think you should at least get some Archons.
Yeah, you definitely want to have that opportunity to tech switch. That's something that's very crucial. And look at this one probe. He's all the way across the map, walking by empty bunkers, sees that there's no army here, knows that the army is out on the map, and Night End actually does not have... does he have any observers? Not a single observer on the map right here. That's not good. And Scan does go down here, and...
I'm always so scared when there's no observers.
Yeah. Scan goes down onto the Protoss army, revealing the composition, seeing that there's no Templar tech in there right now, so Viking production should be continuing, although Ghost production has already started here from ThorZaIN. With that Mobius reactor going to be completing right here, they're going to have a lot of energy available for EMPs. Snipe's not going to be necessary with no Templar there, but that's going to be very, very useful, and I expect that charge is already... Actually, it looks like there's going to be a huge engagement right here. There's actually not a whole lot of Zealots in this composition. Some decent force field's going to be going down right here, and the Stalker's going to be able to force those Vikings back in. But a turnaround onto these Stalkers right here, and the Stalker's going to be taking a ton of damage, but every single one of these Colossi is going to be dying to the high count of Vikings right here. Vikings going to fly back once again. And how did that battle look to you?
It looked weird. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Night End has an odd composition. It's mostly Stalker Colossus. He's got 2 Sentries and 2 Immortals and a single Zealot. So he's got no charge, and his buffer is essentially Stalkers, which are awful buffer units. However, how ThorZaIN was engaging was not correct for that situation. He should have been engaging with his Bioforce as well as his Vikings, because there are no units to kite. You just fight them. So I think it was a little bit off from each player, so it kind of came out even.
It's unusual, that's for sure. This composition is something that you might have seen a year ago in Protoss versus Zerg.
I was going to say that. Like, this looks like an old Protoss versus Zerg composition.
Yeah, it's certainly strange. We do finally see the Templar archives going down, and Charge starting to research here to get a little bit more toward that typical composition, but this is certainly odd.
Yeah, odd is a good way of putting it. I don't think it's bad. Obviously, it's not bad because he engaged well enough for that army. It's just, like you said, odd, different.
Yep.
Something that took ThorZaIN by surprise a little bit.
Definitely. And so we do see both these players changing their compositions up just a bit here. Marauder production definitely going to be favored while there's no Zealots in right now. So that's being done while Ghost production has ceased and resumed now a little bit. And the Viking count all the way up at 14 right now. So that's going to obliterate any Colossi that get added into this composition right here. But there's only 2 Colossi right now. And both these players meeting on the middle of the map here, looking like they might want to get into a little bit of a scuffle.
Yeah, definitely. What needs to happen is Storm needs to finish before another engagement for Night End. He has 2 Colossi, so it's a little bit of AoE, but those Vikings just murder 2 Colossi so fast, and he's not at the point where he has enough Stalkers to fight the army. He does pick off that command center with just Stalkers, so that's pretty cool, and he blinks most of them away.
That's 3/3 Blink Stalkers right there.
They kill stuff fast.
They kill stuff fast, they move fast, they blink fast, and I like that hit and run there. Already with his own 4th already up and being defended here by some of these cannons and even getting some High Templar out. Night End looking like he wants to be able to take the harassment advantage and the eco advantage but the Terran player getting a very good flank right here, getting all of these High Templar, all 5 of these High Templar. None of them had storms available to them, and that is going to be absolutely brutal right here. The Colossi are in the back. The Zealots are going to be charging in there, but huge EMPs go out. Both of these Colossi evaporate. The Vikings probably going to be landed here in just a moment, but even with this small bio ball, continuous EMPs going out right there, the Immortals going to be completely devoid of shields. Marines and Marauders chasing down the Blink Stalkers as best as they can, and Niden looking like he is not going to be able to hold off this huge Terran push.
No, I definitely think he's in a lot of trouble right now. There's no amount of Colossi he can make to win this game, as there are 16 Vikings out, and he doesn't have a base, Zealot composition so that he can, essentially making it so he can't just warp in like 7 Templar. It's definitely in a rough position for him. Luckily for him, Charge is finished finally, but I think they're both at 3-3 now, yeah, so they're both equal in upgrades, and there's just no time to kill this army, man. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, Niden going all the way up to 15 gates right now, so you can build a warp in quite a few units. 3 photon cannons, the only line of defense right now, but as those Archons do get pushed forward right here, the Ghost's going to be laying down blankets of EMPs on all of this army, and Zealots do start to charge in. One storm going down there, not the best storm. Offensive blink comes in. This Immortal in the background being able to put out a little bit of damage, and it looks like this might get held, but look at the amount of damage coming out of this 3-3 Terran army, able to put so much hurt onto the Protoss. Zealots continuously charging in and evaporating, but the Terran reinforcements making their way in, surrounding everything. The last Archon and the only remnant of splash damage does fall here, but these Stalkers might be able to hold off this small amount, but no, these Marauders stem up once again, once more onto the breach, cleaning up all the Colossus, even a little bit of a pickup there onto one of these Marauders, and the Terran player going to be able to walk over this 4th base right here. The Vikings doing so much damage landed here, 15 damage per second right now with +3 ground, and Ghosts coming in to add their damage as well as EMPs go on to these Archons, and the 4th base finally does take the fall here. The Terran player up at over double the supply of his opponent. GG comes out of Niden, and that's going to be the end of this series. ThorZaIN takes it 2-0.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. ThorZaIN just played better. Yeah, especially in that last engagement, there were 3 Templar that had Storm energy, and they were walking over to murder that army. Like, if they'd gotten their storms off, this game would still be going right now, but they didn't, because ThorZaIN, as soon as he saw them, got EMPs on all 3 of them. It was actually really sick.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful control there from ThorZaIN. I mean, I'm watching the game. I'm barely able to tell what's going on while watching it, and ThorZaIN is able to keenly observe the entire battlefield and take the necessary actions to ensure his victory. That's an incredible player right there.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to say that one of the main reasons that Niden didn't win this is because his storm was too late. He forced his opponent into a composition that would have been awesome for him if he'd been making Templar earlier. If he'd had that out like 2 minutes earlier when those 14 Vikings were out and he had 2 Colossi, he could have taken an engagement like so one-sidedly it would have been ridiculous. But he waited so long on his Templar. I think that was actually a mistake because it looked like he was trying to force a bunch of Vikings. It could have went really cool if he'd actually pulled it off.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Niden drops down into the lower bracket while ThorZaIN moves on to the round of 16 in the upper bracket. So, very nice job there. We are moving on. I don't know if we're going to be doing another series today, but this one is all wrapped up. I've been your casting host, Beef. Joining me, Muatoran, Brandon. Any final words before we move on?
Well, I might as well take this opportunity to plug myself. Quite shameless, might add. You can follow me on Twitter at Muatoran, and there's also a YouTube channel that I have. It's youtube.com/MuatarnTV, and Muataran is spelled M-U-A-T-A-R-A-N.
All right, you can check out these VODs over on my YouTube as well at youtube.com/BeefPotPie1. Thanks for watching, guys. We're done here for now, but we will catch you next.